All right, folks, we're back. Thanks for watching that commercial break. So we are going to follow to do Ryung versus Billowy next. We have, however, requested that Impact's match be held should he advance, because I would like to see either Keen or who was that? I was just looking at that. Keen or Bunny versus Impact if that ends up being the case. We also just got a Twitch Prime sub. HJ Palfa. No, that would make more sense if it was HJP Alpha. Thank you for the Twitch Prime sub. Sorry for reading the name so incredibly wrong.
I'm so glad you said that.
Shut up.
I was going to say Hijapalfa.
Hachoo! Alright, so, guys, it's like 6 a.m. in the USA and Canada. That's true, but it's also 3:30 a.m. on the West Coast, where I currently am. We've been pretty accustomed to waking up at all kinds of hours of the day for StarCraft, so always going to try and bring you guys the best games that we can. I hope you guys are enjoying, but it's nice to see that we're about halfway to our viewership goal today. It's weird, right? Like, over 3 years, I don't think we've ever really had a viewership goal. But the reason for this is I cannot sustainably ask, Match Arena to put in $200 every week for a whole year. And I can't provide $100 on BaseTradeTV every week for a year either, if we want to keep this going beyond 1 month. So I would like to very much so be able to sell this to a sponsor, so to speak. So that's a big part of tuning in. I don't want you guys to open up multiple tabs. I don't want you guys view-botting this. We need to see if there's organic viewership here so we can potentially get some sponsorship attached to it for 2017. That would be awesome. Yep. That being said, if there's a lot of donations through Match Arena, we may approach this like the Alima League and take the Patreon approach. If the fans want to see games, the fans will get games. That sort of idea. But this whole month is basically a giant a giant measurement test, I guess, to see how this will do.
It's a measuring contest.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
2,000 inches.
Cool.
Prize pool, by the way, is up to $174. Now, a lot of you guys using those codes, and I thank you greatly for it. But we also have some people using their own money. Chardon112 donates $6 and says, "For Beyond." I'm sure we'll see Beyond. Don't you worry. A Trophy donated $10. Sbricky donated $3.10. And thank you guys so much. Again, the reminder is that you don't actually have to spend any of your own money if you don't want to. We obviously appreciate it. The players will too, as they get all the money for this. But if you do want to just use the code MKGA1 on the donation page, you'll add $1 to the prize pool at no cost to yourself. Thanks again, Match Arena, for making that possible. Let's hop into the game, though, in the bottom right side on Echo, here in the Make Korea Great Again tournament. It's Ryung.
In the top left, as the red Protoss, he is Billowy.
I really wish Ryung was red, so we could liken him to the Republicans and talk about how he's going to be building a wall.
Oh, well, God didn't let us have that opportunity, did he?
No, unfortunately.
Well, darn.
I will say, by the way, there was a lot of blowback, and I guess that's the best way to phrase that, on the name of the tournament. We, of course, as always with BaseTradeTV, just picking a silly name for laughs. But what I loved about this was this caused enough controversy that this tournament, before the first game was even played for this tournament, there was like literally 2,000 times more views and comments and such related to this tournament than even when we throw Ting. $5,000 big tournament type thing. I love it. I love that this name was able to spark controversy for whatever reason. It got discussion going. Because I feel like one of the things that does suck about the events we post, they don't end up on Reddit. They're not front paged anywhere. They're not newsworthy on Team Liquid. I think people just kind of roll with the fact, oh, it's BaseTrade doing another tournament. So it was nice to see a bit of traction on this for once.
Yeah.
I bring this up though to just point out there is no like behind the scenes motive with the name. We literally put a vote up. Somebody on Reddit suggested it, and it got the most upvotes in the thread, so we rolled with it. We technically didn't even pick the name.
Yeah, I still am kind of bewildered why that was the one that really got in trouble. But whatever.
I know, we've had so much work. 32 boys, 1 cup. Oh my god, I still have people like at Blizzard come up to me, like at this recent BlizzCon, and say like, how did you guys throw that tournament? I'm like, whatever, man. It's a funny name.
Who cared?
Yeah, exactly.
There's no like bureau of tournament titles we had to respond to.
I know. I guess the downside though is because we do aim for, I think, funny, we don't have as much consistency. So there's not like Like, you know, OGaming has their Top Dogs League. There's the OSC that runs all year round. Go for StarCraft. Like, these are leagues that have
Well,
lots of numbers behind them. Like, oh, it's the
you know what?
572nd tournament.
We can run top dogs. We can run we'll call it top butts. And then at the end of the tournament, they get like a butt trophy that's just like a really good butt.
Yo.
So the best butt.
No. They don't get a trophy. They get a pair of spandex that they have to...
It's like a picture.
That's how you get the money, all right? So the prize might be $2,000, but you don't get it until you submit a picture
You're
of
just
your
making
butt
us sound
in
like really
spandex.
weird fetish people.
Look, I'm just saying,
now.
a StarCraft 2 calendar might just save the game. You don't know.
An elaborate plan to get pro gamers' butts. Hope Zest wins the first one.
I hope Scarlet wins the first one. Look, she'd have to check in, though, which
so
is
much trouble.
She'd have to check in, which is a whole nother can of worms.
Never gonna happen.
Yeah, if you guys didn't see, Scarlet did sign up for this, but she forgot to check in, which was really unfortunate. One less great Zerg competing today. But as we got events going on all week, this will be back for more and more later. My curiosity lies in what's Ryung planning to do. We actually got a great taste of TVP earlier today watching Euthermal play. And Ryung is kind of doing not quite the same thing, but the idea of still with a Widowmine opener. Done very differently than that of Euthermal, but still a Widowmine opener nonetheless.
Mm-hmm. I like that someone says that Sue and Dark are taking away viewers to make Korea great again.
No, that's great. Please, more Korean stream. I'll take that. If every Korean pro was streaming right now, we wouldn't have to make a tournament called Make Korea Great Again. Like, a big part of us doing this isn't like you guys have to understand, this is like 100% at a loss for us, right? Like, we're not going to make money off this tournament. But the idea is that we wanted to help these guys out. You know, everyone's off of a team. We want to see good players. The fans want to see good names. So, you know, in that regard, everybody wins. But monetarily speaking, it would be great if we didn't run this tournament.
Well, the Widowmine drop didn't do too much damage. Not expecting it to do too much damage. So we're really up to Billowy to mess up.
That's actually a really good
Ryung
response, too. It's one thing to just pull the probes away, but it's like that little bit of a sacrifice and control to send the one probe in on each Widowmine. Yeah, it sucks you lose the probes, but you get back to mining much faster, which is a lot of the time far more important. The Observer's out, so Ryung shouldn't get away with too much more.
Huh?
BaseTradeTV not reading my sub message. Oh no, dude. I got you. Hang on. Oh, because this was during the commercial break. Moving laterally resub for 23 months, and he said, #butts forever. Really relevant to our most recent conversation, so I'm glad you brought it up.
Yeah, so well timed.
Alright, real talk. Zombie Girl.
What?
I'm not talking nudity, alright? We'll just go back to the spandex idea for a moment. So, like, your butt specifically in a spandex on a calendar for 12 months of the year. With the connotation that if you did this, it would save StarCraft. It would become more popular than League of Legends even. Would you do it?
If it just had a weird, like, yoga pants?
Sure. We'll keep it real PC.
Then sure, I would.
You heard it, guys. Time to get those wallets out. Let's make this happen. Let's save StarCraft together.
My butt looks good in yoga pants.
Thank you, by the way, to Mr. Dumos for the Twitch Prime sub. Good to see that support. Now, the Warp Prism, awkwardly enough, is going to intersect with the Medevac, so I'm not sure if Ryung will send that Medevac back out, trying to mind game it and make it look like he's sending something, you know, across the map. But his Marines are in position. This Warp Prism should not get a lot done. Tank at the front side can help keep the Stalkers back. Tanks deal a lot of damage now with 70 a shot.
Hell, it's a butt time.
Hell, it's a butt time. Can we make that our tournament title? Can that be our consistent, like, hell, it's a butt time, and every tournament will be just, like, number 69? Like, the first tournament we'll label as, like, the 69th. The 69th tournament, though, we'll throw it for a loop. We'll call that number 1.
Oh. Oh, that was a great suggestion. So, butt talk finally got to a point where this game's going to start heating up. Sim is done. So, Ryung should be trying to push out. These have a couple of like tanks that he has to be careful to siege with, because I mean, they're going to be very helpful, even if they're just 2 of them. But otherwise, it is just going to be the bio pushing forward. Billowy, is he prepared for this? He's got Resonant Waves in the way.
My
I
concern
actually
is...
think he does enough army.
Well, Mike's... Uh-oh. Some lag? Is that on my end? I blame Zombie for that.
What?
The Warp Prism goes down, but the Liberators now are free to join the push, and you asked, like, is he prepared to deal with this? And I think if it was just the bio and the Widowmines and the tanks, maybe that would be the case, but he's got so few Stalkers, the Liberators should be kings here. Or queens, excuse me.
Yeah, excuse you. Maybe.
Although-
Billowy does push out, trying to stop the siege hop a little bit, but it doesn't really work out. That's so many Widow Mines covering the tanks and the Liberators.
It really is. It's going to be very difficult to get the Stalkers in any sort of position to fight. The Mothership Core already almost goes down too. The Pylon's getting some decent shots off, but still standing. All right, the Adepts, if they transfer on this and eat the Widow Mines, maybe that works for the Stalkers, but that's a big maybe. Scan picks off the Observer, so now they can't see the Widow Mines, and maybe that's what he was hoping to do, but they pop off on all the Adepts. Stalkers blink in, but it's just not enough. The Marauders are going to be able to tear right through everything that's left over, and this game just went to Ryung.
GG.
GG.
Widow Mine shots. I think this will be good.
Well, it's a good start to the series for Ryung. We'll see if Billowy picks a map that is a little more conducive. Big upset, in my opinion. Bottom side of the bracket. Cloudy takes out Patience 2-0.
Oh.
Cloudy,
Cool.
for those who don't know, is one of the Chinese players competing in this, and he did pretty well in the IM qualifier. So it's not super crazy that he beats Patience, but still, he beats Patience? Like, come on. Patience is really freaking good.
Yeah, 2-0. Slacked.
Yeah, maybe 2-1, I could believe. I don't know. But okay, Cloudy will wait, though. He doesn't necessarily win for winning because he fights either Tails, Major, or Byun later on as a consequence. Classic advances, by the way. So the winner of this will fight against Classic. But as pointed out before, we're going to be specifically looking for impacts next series after this. So, while, you know, Ryung versus Classic might be really super sick, we do want to see where the Zergs are at in Korea. Specifically because the qualifiers were a bit wonky for IM, and I'm not quite sure how that sits. But with plenty of Terrans in the semifinals and the finals, I don't think we'll have to worry about that.
Next map's going to be Daybreak.
Okay, showing off you here in a sec. Let's see, where's that Maturino page at now, by the way? We were at, what, 170 before? We're at 177. Dollars raised.
Cents.
And 10 cents. Well, that was because Spriggy donated $3.10.
Ah.
The 3 does look
that
a little bit like a butt.
There we go.
By the
Yeah, now
way, part of this Maturino thing, guys, is we've spoken to some things about, well, we can't achieve anything for December. If this tournament were to go through to January, we're able to get some prizes for Maturino. They've got a new system, if you guys haven't seen on some of the other Maturino pages, where you essentially can get rewards, kind of like a Kickstarter in that regard for your donations and contributions. So we really want to try getting in on that as soon as we can, but that will have to wait. Game number 2 already underway, spawning here in the top right side of Daybreak. It's going to be the blue Protoss Billowy.
In the bottom left as the red Terran, he is Ryung.
Thank you for McLaser saying he wants my butt to be in the calendar too. But I don't know if
That's
would
all you
work.
were looking for.
I would be like, we would have Zombie Grub be the obvious front runner, I suppose you could say, for the calendar. I would just be there for the leap years.
The leap year.
That's the one day that would be mine.
Just flip to it, not expecting a different butt. And they're like, oh god.
Oh, that butt looks pretty fantastic. Wait a minute, that's not a girl's butt. Now I'm angry because
You
I'm
could do one of
confused about
those
the way I feel.
poses. You need one of those poses where like your butt's like, you know, facing the camera, but your like torso's turned around and like your fingers on your lips. You know, like you do one of those.
Oh, so this was a calendar, in my opinion, that's just focused on the butt, like super zoomed in, not like.
No, this has got to you got to be included. Because otherwise, they're gonna think it's a really great girl's butt.
That's true,
You know,
and
they're just
people
gonna be
won't get to appreciate
so
my
confused.
super sexy calves if they're not zoomed. Yeah, okay, I get you. You're what I would like to call an innovator, Zombie Grub.
Oh, that sounds fantastic. That's gonna be a stretch goal.
Stretch
Give us
goal.
$10,000.
Speaking of my pants, I'm curious what Ryan will do this game. I think his opener didn't really see that strong to me, if we're gonna be honest. His Widow Mines were a bit lame and kind of on the weak side. It was his good macro on the follow-up that really won that game.
Yeah, that push was so deadly in a lot because he just had good macro. I mean, it wasn't about trying to drop Billowy to death unless you lose medevacs and units. It was 1 drop and a half that led to a macro game. So that's pretty scary because it's not like Billowy, like, Ryung didn't do much damage, Billowy didn't take much damage, yet he still got absolutely wrecked when it came to the actual engagement. So, like, I would be afraid of, like, okay, well, if this happens again, like, what am I going to do? But Ryung's actually already opened up with something with a little bit different. Did you go 1 base last time? Let's go for a factory expand this time.
I want Ryung to play mech. I know he's not going to do it, but I want it to happen. I have learned that apparently if you wish hard enough and for long enough, battle cruisers eventually happen. You
weren't even wishing for it though. Like you would give you. It was that thing where you stop wishing for it and it comes for you. You know.
You stop looking for a girlfriend and you get one. Like I finally got my true love in a battle cruiser from Euthermal.
Exactly, and now you'll never have a girlfriend. No matter as long as you wait.
You know what? I would take that trade. If battle cruisers became part of the meta, but the cost was I had to be single for the rest of my life, I might actually consider that. That's how much I love battle cruisers.
Dear God. That's I feel like you have to go like lawyer that up and like say like what exactly means dating and what means like girlfriend, and then you could probably do it.
Escort service, I guess, would not be part of the package.
Like one night stands, right? Like you still have those.
Well, I've got 2 one night stands
you have an
on each
online
side of my bed.
That you never meet. That totally counts.
All right, well, shut up. Ryung is going for the medevac, so he's going to go for that drop. That wouldn't mind. But he does put down the additional barracks, and he does them pretty quickly, so we might see him gear up for another really aggressive game, too. I don't really think there was anything wrong with his push. There's no criticism to be had there. I didn't find his opening to be that strong, but the follow-up was fantastic. So if you can fail in the opening but still win in the follow-up, that's what might matter the most. This time around, though, things are changing. We do have Billowy going for a much faster robo, so Colossus likely on deck. But Ryung's also going for a really fast Liberator, too. I'm curious if that'll be for just harassment or if that'll be an actual dedication.
Probably just for the harassment, but I mean, if he can save this drop and also attack with the Liberator, he could get some damage done. You made me look bad. He does save the drop, even if it's a little bit weak, so the Liberator might come in here and get something done. It's just an expected move. I think Billowy literally scouted it coming from the starport, that you should be aware of, like, double-pronged attack, totally prepared for it, but it still gets the best of the best Protoss in the world. Ooh, Warp Prism speed.
Gravitic drive.
If only this gave the Warp Prism 20 more health. Like the Baneling.
You're so hung up on this health thing for the Warp Prisms. I don't feel like it's a big deal.
Oh, it's a big deal.
Well, I can see why he's going for Gravitic drive now. This is a bit of an older school build, but you're going to be going for that really fast Warp Prism paired up with some Disruptor drops. This was something that was really good because what it did was force the Terran player to stay at home for the most part. And if he can do that to Ryung, then Ryung never gets to do that really sexy, awesome push that it won game number 1 so smoothly and easily with.
Well, it's very difficult to control the Disruptors well, and one Disruptor drop isn't... Well, it's still scary, especially if you don't expect it, because who does this anymore, but it's one of those things where it's like 2 Disruptors is better than 1. But he goes right into Colossus after. Look how speedy this thing is. Pew! Pew!
Well, I mean, that's actually not too wrong of a sound, but Ryung is not paying attention.
Oh,
that one Marine walked up to his butt. Hey guys, what are you all? Oh no! Why'd you all die? Like.
That observer was so well placed. There's no way the Disruptor, like, gets perfect attack like that. Like, it's gonna go for the SCVs, but doesn't know that the army's all clumped up like that.
What's funny is, like, that really should have been a super hype moment, but it was so funny because of how bad it was for Ryung. Like, that should never have gotten a shot like that.
Oh my god, his army just, like, it's supposed to be so much bigger.
I know, it should literally be twice the size. How many Marines died? 12 Marines died, Zombie Grub. Think about that for a moment.
God.
12 Marines died. That's more Marines than I have friends. And they're all dead.
Jesus.
That was risky. That was really risky for Ryung. I saw what he was trying to do. He thought he could focus it down. He had 3 Marauders there, but the third one was not a ranged shooting. So another big, costly mistake. Meanwhile, Billowy's lost an Observer and a Probe for this. Look at the resources lost. 150 to 1,150.
Oh,
this
Disruptor. This has been a more effective Disruptor drop I've seen since... I think Puck started doing them, basically? Like, how long ago was that?
Long time ago. Him and Neeb were the first ones to really start making them look good.
It's a year. Oh my god.
Oh no. Dominish brings up the fact that, along with my girlfriends, I'd have to give up my waifus, and I don't think I can make that sacrifice.
What? No, you don't have to do that. Your waifus are loved from afar, and that was the whole like thing where you just have to like kind of argue what a girlfriend is, and like how being single is.
Well, so that's I guess at that stage though where you do truly become yandere, because if you can't be with them, no one else can, right? Is that the logic?
Oh dear God, no. But if you want to, then yes, that does make you a yandere. Good God.
All right, the Liberator coming towards the main actually should be able to get a couple of kills, so this will be some payback finally for the damage he took. We do have Fusion Core on the way, and I'm not going to get hyped. Like, this actually should not be battle cruisers. There's no good reason to go for them, as much as I would love to see them, despite all our talks up to this. Liberator range is such a big factor, especially when it comes to dealing with the Colossus. You want to draw a line in the sand. You want to make sure Protoss can't advance. On a map like Daybreak, where there's chokes and chokes and even more chokes, Liberators are certainly the right option.
Chokes, and more chokes. Get him here on Daybreak choke.
Expanding to the far south instead of the middle is kind of interesting out of Billowy.
Yeah, tell us occasionally. There's the preference. Some people even go for the third base in the middle. Or the fourth. But those disruptors in the early game has really cut Ryung's game plan, I feel. Uh-oh. Oh, we're good.
Oh, did you lag or something? Hello?
I did, yes. Hi?
You're like, yeah, this really nice sentence going. It just like walked into a wall.
Was the wall the lag, or was the wall my confusion?
You didn't lag on my end at all.
Hage Jibu?
Yeah, exactly.
Hmm.
Oh, well, now I'm seeing there's a spike there. What are you doing? Stop it. You're ruining the game for the players.
Nothing. This happened the first time I cast the Fang Cup. It's just like I think everyone's coming up like home and getting on the internet.
Maybe. Alright, well, unfortunately, the game has gotten to a bit of a stale part of the game while everyone builds up their army. I do like the idea of lots and lots of Vikings. I love the idea of the Liberators, of course, but what's going to happen is we actually have Billowy already going for Stargate. 2 of them, in fact, will probably be quickly followed up by Fleet Beacon. He's anticipating Liberators. It's the way to go, after all. So Tempest will still be the solution to stop Liberators.
Yeah. And poor Ryung, I mean, the disruptor's early game, that's what I was going to get into for the lag, was just that he doesn't have any pressure to apply to stop Billowy from able to respond so smoothly to Liberators. You know, hopefully you were keeping the stalker count low, you were trading with the Adepts, you were forcing them to invest as you invested, but they kind of just both acknowledge, I guess, that they'd have time to get to the super late stage game. And that's where it's going. I mean, we have a Ghost Academy, a 4th base, before even 2-2 is done.
Well, Liberator and Marines giving chase to this Warp Prism. It'd be very unfortunate to lose it, but thank God for that speed, right? Although it still goes down. Surprise, the Watchtower Marines, I guess, were there. It's not devastating to lose the Warp Prism like that, but when you're going for things like Void Rays, I thought it was going to be Tempest. Void Rays are not, in my opinion, the best solution to deal with this. They will kill Liberators the fastest, but their range is not good enough. Like, Marines will protect this. I think even the Vikings will protect this. There's so many Liberators.
Now that they have a speed boost, Rifkin.
Stop with the speed boost. Stop trying to make fetch happen. It's not going to happen.
It's funny though, like I really like you keep on saying the numbers, and it does not sound like a lot, and it shouldn't be, but like it did help change up some of the dynamic of like a Cyclone, as well as the Cyclones change up too. Like it actually is a little bit better.
Well, all the Liberators get focused down by the Stalkers. 2 barely remain. The Void Rays shooting the Marauders instead, but the Colossus all remain alive, and Ryung gets absolutely demolished here on the front lines.
Yeah, that wasn't all of his army, and he's making it as quick as possible. And he's only down 20 army supply, but he really should not have taken that engagement. I mean, he wasn't even with the Ghosts.
Well, he was trying to use the choke. I kind of understand why he wanted to do that. It looked advantageous for a moment, but he did not handle the Void Rays well. He did not handle the Blink very well, and despite
his supply is all in air.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like, there's a really good EMP, but there's no Marauders and Marines to really capitalize on this.
Yeah, it still worked out, though. Like, the Stalker count wasn't there. There's the War Prism now, and that might be what's able to push Billowy through to win.
Well, Liberator is going to get focused down again. Nothing left to shoot these Colossus. 4 of them awkwardly stuttering, unable to walk forward. Okay.
It looks bad for Ryung, but if he can hold, it's not really that terrible. He does have all the tools ready to take a late game, and he hasn't lost his economy yet.
No, but his third base has some very important buildings, and I don't mean the Ghost Academy. I mean all these depots.
Yeah. Yeah, I still think Ryung is probably going to lose to the composition here, but if he could somehow hold, like if the Vikings are taken care of fast.
Oh, he pulls the boys. Haven't seen this happen in a while. Really trying to pull out all the stops to stop these Colossus, but the AoE's looking to be a little too good. He shot specifically over the SCVs and targeted down the Marauders in the backline. Great focus fire out of Billowy.
Yeah. Yep, and Ryung just takes so much damage. He goes out of 40 SCVs, which isn't like truly terrible because he's on 4 command centers. You can remake it pretty quickly, but he's having to remake SCVs and remake an army. His army is now significantly far lower than 20. It's
you know what's really fantastic? Down. Look at the income graph for a moment. And more specifically, just how close it's been for the last 10 minutes. Normally we see somebody get a big spike or somebody like gets an economic lead, but this has been very close as far as money goes for so long.
Yeah, up until that point. Well, the upgrades are not going to be in favor of Ryung, and again, maybe he can hold once again, but it's getting worse and worse, and he can't even get his fourth base down on location. He's going to start running out of minerals in his main and natural.
Starting to lift is not a good sign. Void Rays still on the front lines. EMPs may have hit, but is it going to be enough? The Marines are getting mowed down. The Void Rays have got nothing to stop them. They're all prismatically aligned. Yes, the Colossus are going to fall, but I think the ground army at Billowy is still going to be a little too good.
Yeah. Plus, again, now down to 28 SCVs.
Oh, hello,
it's not
mules.
looking too good.
Awkward mules are awkward. Of course, on top of all this, even if Ryung were to even out the army supply, he's just lost a lot of supply cap. He can't hit 200. GG. Game number 2 going to Billowy. He ties it up 1 apiece. We're going to sneak off to a quick commercial break while we get into game number 3. It's a loser's pick. We'll see you guys soon. All right, folks, we're back. Game number 3 underway. Got to give a quick thank you to, of course, everybody watching the ads for today. As if you guys don't know, up until December 31st, Twitch is giving all broadcasters a 50% bonus to their ad revenues. So each commercial means just that little bit more. So those that watch it, you seriously have our gratitude. That being said, spawning here in the top central portion of Vanity Research Station, we've got the blue barcode. He just tied it up 1-1. It's Billowy.
In the bottom position as the red Terran, he is Ryung.
Now, I really don't think Billowy is going to find the same opening that he did that last game. That disruptor shot, I love the speed. I love the idea of going disruptors. But you're never going to get such a perfect hit on Marines. Not if Ryung has anything to say about it.
That was the perfect opportunity. Yeah, I don't know if you're going to do it again, though. I wonder why Ryung picked Vanity Research Station. It was kind of surprised to see that chosen, I suppose.
So
we've been having a lot of veto tournaments.
Well, so in the past, I think this map made no sense, but in what is now, it's awkward to consider. There's still Golden. There's still a lot of chokes on the map. So over here, like, great spot for Liberators, great spot for Liberators, great spot for Liberators. If his thought process is going that direction, I get the pick. But just other than that, it's really wide open engagement areas. That's not exactly better for Terran all the time.
I would have thought that like a proxy Rax would have been on the menu for Vanity. Just the single one and then go for like 2 Reapers seem pretty effective, and then into further harassment because it does get a little bit tricky. First deal with the Reaper and there's so many jumping up points, and then they go straight up to that starport, and then you have to deal with like the Liberator, and your natural and your main base, which are, you know, the natural's technically safe. You know, it's behind your main kind of deal, but it's deceiving. It's something that's, when you have missile turrets or cannons surrounding it, then yeah, it's totally safe, but up until then can actually be kind of a pain as it's a little bit far away from that main base. It is going to be a 1-base build, even if it wasn't a proxy barracks. Well, again, I guess a pseudo 1-base build, factory. Expand.
By the way, gotta give some love out to Walgren78. He just donated $12.42 to the prize pool. 42 is the ultimate number, not 69. Is it 42 that's the answer to life, the universe, and everything? It's actually been so long. I think that's what that reference is for.
Yes? I don't know. I never got on board with that. Never watched the movie, never read the book. thought
Well,
everyone who kept on saying it was going to win.
with that contribution, the price was now doubled officially. We're at 100, well, not officially, but almost. We're at $199.52 for prizing, which is just absolutely fantastic. We still have over 100 and something codes left, though, so if you guys haven't, make sure to get up on that website. Click it, click it, click it. Go, 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 go. It won't cost you anything but a few seconds of your time, and you'll create $1 for the players.
Woo! $1. The drop opportunity on Vanity, as I was saying, with the natural being a little bit far away, and until you have those perfect defenses, is pretty good for the Terran. But I am like thinking more to that late game. If it even goes to the late game again, I just wonder if Ryung really wants to play like a super long game, because that's what I think of when I think of Vanity Research Station. I think of kind of long games. Third base comes down, probably maybe fourth base. This is a lot because of the period of time where Vanity was in the last map pool. Stormhost, Mech, unbeatable late game Protoss.
Wait, this is not a new map? I thought this was a brand new map.
I know. It's so crazy. It's not. But they create a lot of long games. Such terrible like flashbacks facing Protoss in that late game in Heart of the Swarm. It's absolutely terrible. But it is very different. I just enjoyed. This is going to be deflected. I do like this maneuver. I feel like some of the maps in the last map pool didn't really allow for this so much, but just taking the ramp as opposed to actually going straight for the mineral lines and controlling it and just, basically stopping the stalkers from holding out their poor natural. I'm not sure what's better.
Well, the Widow Mine would have gotten picked off where it was earlier. He did manage to keep this alive. He might try and sneak that back in, but hopefully Ryung's not paying too much attention over here because he is going to have to pay some attention back home. A lot of stalkers are walking across the map, and this wasn't a fast tank for the defense. He's put a lot of emphasis on the Marines, specifically with combat shields and stim. If combat shields and stim finish up, he is fine and good to go, but that's a long way out.
This is a bit older version of, how you follow up a Widow Mine drop, which is pretty interesting because it's just tanks gave you that defense in case they did go for a counter with like blink stalkers, which is what. I mean, he's not going to really dedicate too much to it, but Billowy is looking to at least poke and prod with, as well as tanks have just become so useful. It does delay your stim, like, significantly, so you're waiting a bit longer to do a tank push, but I still think the tanks are pretty good units. Maybe on a different map he would have gone for it.
Well, the medevac has certainly kept Billowy, I guess, a little bit more on his toes than he expected. The observer keeping eyes on it means he never lost vision, but he is going to try and intercept it down here to the bottom right. If the boost is wasted just casually, he may not escape, but if he uses the boost, he might not get killed by the stalkers. They are looking for a kill. They're looking for blood.
Just wait in the dead space of this map forever. In the jungle.
Well, meanwhile, the Warp Prism got a couple of adepts off in the main, but quickly picks up and leaves.
Pretty quick robotics bait, but it was for the Colossus while he tries to take that third base. Oh, no, medevac, what are you doing,
so
buddy?
he was trying to pick up the 2 extra Marines to have a full medevac to unload towards the main, which wasn't a bad idea, but ultimately didn't work, as we see. Combat Shields does kick in, but Stim wasn't finished, so he could not really deal that much damage to these stalkers.
Warp Prism's still a pain in Ryung's side, forcing him to react to this, defend against it, as opposed to pushing out and taking control of the map while he has that stim. And while the Colossus count is still kind of low. And the last game's problem had a lot to do with Ryung's lack of pressure. He lost so many of his early game units, it just was, okay, I guess I gotta go kind of the late game. And Billowy really, took off with that, but it shouldn't happen here. He didn't lose that many units. He had pretty fast stim and a lot of medevacs to use, and he should be looking for opportunities to get a good concave or a good drop into the natural. Just taking Glenaga now.
Well, back at home for Billowy, he did start getting Colossus production rolling. Not exactly on 2 robos or anything like that, but Extended Thermal Lance is finishing up as we speak. Support for the Colossus isn't that great just yet, but I don't think he's worried. With Photon Overcharge for the time being, Ryung's not going to be able to just stim in and kill them. Ryung still not be on a third base yet. I mean, the CC's finishing up in his main, but this is going to kind of hurt. That's where the income starts falling off for him, as Billowy is doing quite well right now.
The pretty fast Stargate is a little bit surprising, and the single Stargate too. It almost looks like he's going to go to Tempest just because he's getting 1 Stargate for Fleet Peak, and then he'll add on more Stargates later. Well, Billowy's been kind of odd about his Stargates. Of course, he goes for Void Rays, whether it's the early game or the late game, which is a little weird.
If it's one Stargate for one Void Ray, I can actually totally understand that justification for dealing with the Liberators. Because I gotta imagine that's what he thinks is coming. And that's what every Terran player loves to do. But if it is going to be to slowly build up towards Tempest, I for one would be glad to see it. I really want to see the new Tempest ability in play, the AoE stun. But that being said, their range is still probably their best attribute for anti-air.
Nothing yet from the Stargate.
Meanwhile, Viking production kicks up, so he should have enough to deal with the Colossus by the time fights come down.
Oh, the clever supply depot scout.
Yep.
So creative, Ryung.
I don't know about creative, but
it's not. Still not much happening. The vision granted from both these players is pretty good all over the map. Ryung, okay, he's not going to go for the third. Or the natural. He's going to land at what could have been the fourth if you're really greedy, but the fourth is kind of hard to take for... Yeah, I'd say especially for the Protoss. Like, Ryung might be able to take the fourth as a gold base, as he is the one pressuring out the map, but it is kind of a difficult one to secure.
This push over here is a little bit dangerous how far it's getting. There's been a lot of observers, although it gets sniped, so basically some of that vision. But with the Colossus and especially the Sentries, there's not a lot of actual firepower here. He'll meet up with the main part of his army, and that's going to be a nice composition. Void Ray is going to come out of that Stargate, by the way. So, this is where, for me, the Void Ray is a little bit of a weird spot, right? On one hand, okay, even if it soaks up just one volley from the Vikings, or even two, maybe it's worth it just as a soak, like the most expensive point defense drone of all time. I don't know. But it certainly has killing capabilities. Whether it's frying Marauders, Medivacs, or Liberators, anything that's armored, hell, even the Vikings get melted by a Void Ray. Like, this unit, honestly, like... seems almost so broken when it's prismatically aligned and then so terrible when it's not.
Well, I feel like I'm watching Heart of the Swarm again. The map, the composition, Ryung going for... I mean, again, this game, not because he lost so much in the early game, but just, I guess, this is what they both decided they wanted to do, as Billy didn't have many holes in his defense. Going towards the late game really quickly, so Ryung's trying to get maxed out with Ghost Viking bio, no Liberators. Very classic composition. And, you know, Billowy, he's adding in those Void Rays, which is definitely a stylistic thing, but Colossus, mostly.
It's a very impressive Viking army, by the way.
Oh, yeah, he's been building up. I mean, he's maxed out. This is a, you know, pretty fair opportunity for him to push in as his 2-2 upgrades finish. It would have been slightly before Billowy's 2, but I don't think he's going to push in, like, literally right now. Maybe before Archons and Storm. If you just pull the SCVs, it would have been perfect. It would have been a complete throwback.
Well, as he pushes forward, this might just be a big fight. I mean, cannons, overcharges, everything helps to try and defend the base, but for Billowy, he needs to buy time and not dedicate. He wants those Storms, and I think Storms would win in the game. It would win him a lot of fights, but Ghosts get picked off pretty quick. Viking's going to be picking off on the right side, but this Nexus is going to go down. There's just nothing to stop it. There's nothing to save it. These Widowmines still haven't been triggered either, so while there's no Liberators, oh, that splash damage is going to be so good!
The Vikings maybe could have gotten some earlier shots than Colossus, but they're still taking all of them down before they die, and they can land now and help out.
He's probably not thinking about it right now, but the Marauders are holding their own pretty well even without it. There we go. Vikings going to land. They don't do that much to the Adepts, but they Shrek Stalkers. Widowmines also came off cooldown and got a couple more hits, but Ryung's going to be the one to disengage, and he didn't quite get that Nexus.
No, he didn't. He did get all of the Colossus, which is usually pretty substantial. You're going to remax faster on your bio than they are going to be producing, especially from one Robo. But now Billowy has Archons and Storms to also help out his composition.
Right, and that's where the asterisk in this goes, though, because Storms are actually... Okay, they're not bad against all kinds of bio. Marauders will be included in that for generalization, but ideally you want the Storms to shut down the Vikings so that your Colossus can live. Unfortunately, with so many Colossus having died, I don't know how big of a priority Storm is anymore. It is an extra layer of area of effect, which is not always good to have, but... Oh, this is not... give this like 5 minutes. Yeah, these Templar are fantastic. Right now, the Templar are kind of meh.
Meh. Oh. Well, that's a pretty dangerous drop. Especially with the lower medevacs, these high Templars, sees the army just waiting. Santa to go for it. It just seems like, you know, it's understandable that the Protoss will be taking too much damage from Doom drops. The later the game goes, they get cannons, they get Templars, you know, just the way things go, but Billowy has just been, like, solid defense throughout the past 13 minutes. I'm surprised Ryung's still trying.
Sorry guys, I was opening a new water bottle, so I missed that little scuffle. I mean, I didn't expect the ghosts to come out so quick, and they weren't really super impressive in that last fight, so I'm hoping Ryung's gonna have a little bit better control in the future engagements, whether it's just simply knocking the energy off the Templar, or maybe actually hitting more of the Protoss army.
Yeah. These Liberators almost seem like they were an accident. He, like, auto-piloted to Liberators, and was like, wait a minute, I'm trying to make Vikings.
Well, so that kind of goes back to, like, I'm surprised we haven't seen more. There's so many great opportunities for chokes on this map. I really thought Liberators would be a bigger emphasis for him.
Yeah. Maybe just he's gonna try and make a couple, but he does want the mobility of the Vikings, because that's, you know, besides the fact that they can land and do, like, a lot of damage to the Stalkers now, the best bet is always the fact that they can micro them a little bit more to take out those Colossus. With the Liberators, technically, if they're siege, you can micro them to kill the Colossus. Is just a different dynamic.
I wonder if Vikings... I wonder how different they would be if instead of two modes like air to ground, they had like a just machine gun they could use to shoot the air with instead. Kind of like Thor transformation modes. Nice pick up on one of the Templar to start this fight. Not that much energy, but of course there's still some Templar on the left side he might be able to swoop in with and catch him with a bit of a storm. Either way, EMPs do hit most of Billowy's army, so he's going to be a little bit scared to fight. Colossus gets caught on the north side. Perobes transferring through.
Oh my god, actually, Billowy is just getting so out of position here.
Yeah, positioning is killing him certainly more than the army type or composition. These storms are pretty nice. They take out a good chunk of the bio from Ryung, but Ryung's still sitting pretty on 120 army supply, and more importantly, a lot of these Vikings are still alive. You know, the storms and the stalkers are meant to take out the anti-air.
So Billowy can actually push into this? There's only 3 Liberators. It doesn't seem to be that much.
He blankets pretty much the whole army with the EMPs, but misses the one Templar with them, but the Liberators are still set up really nicely.
Yeah. It's a fallback point that's working out pretty well, even if there's not too many of them. You know, if he wants to take care of the Liberators, then he has to engage, and Billowy doesn't want to engage. I'm really surprised. Well, actually, I guess it's one of the trick that Ryung did. He waited so long and got so few Liberators. Billowy never bothered going up to them to actually take care of them. Only got like 1 or 2 Void Rays.
Oh, I love that split at the end out of Ryung, by the way. That's great Marauder control. And he could probably concave on the Stalkers, but he's still very worried about those 3 Colossus.
Yeah.
If there was a couple more medevacs, he may have actually stuck around.
True. You know, getting a concave with so many Marauders. Yeah, we were so surprised at the low Viking counts, but he was kind of going between Liberators and Vikings and then producing more on the bio than the air. Not nearly as impressive as an army as it was the last fight, but both fights kind of a wash. They both retreats. This time, I would say that Billowy ended up getting the better end.
Oh,
he's on his way to a 5th base.
I really like that he's taking the time to repair these medevacs, by the way. Not just because, you know, oh, good, keep him alive. But this is that stage of the game where he probably doesn't want to keep producing medevacs at all right now. He is, and I think that's strange, because there should be more Vikings. There should be more Liberators. In fact, I would say more Liberators over Vikings, but still, point remains, he's making a lot more medevacs, which I find very strange.
We are at that same conundrum that happened in every other expansion, actually, including Wings of Liberty, where it's, at any point, the Protoss could be like, well, I have so many Vikings, I guess I'm no longer going to invest into the ground and my High Templars, and the Vikings become useless. Even though they're better now, they still aren't like the greatest thing to have to wait until they land and then they can start shooting. So maybe Ryung's just very aware that that's a possibility. You know, he's not constantly having eyes on the army. Maybe he doesn't know that it's 5 Colossus again. But he's also swapping entirely to Liberators. He's getting a Fusion Core.
So very funny, the brackets, Beyond beats Major 2-0 while this game's going on, but then I guess Cloudy forfeited, so Beyond gets walked over to the semifinals. The king will have to wait on his throne for a little bit.
That's so weird.
Well, we do have those medevacs heading northwards. 3 of them is going to be a lot of damage. He scans to see there's only a cannon defending. This will be great for Ryung. This is a huge opening. If Billowy pulls his army back to defend, Ryung might also push up the left side of the map, but he's looking to catch a lot of these probes.
Wow.
There shouldn't be this many probes here with how little minerals there were left, but that's going to be 12 probes going down.
Finally, a job into the natural works. I guess persistence really does pay off. And this is going to do so much damage. Billowy, like, it looked like almost he didn't want to react and then realized he had to. And only recently split his army to do it.
It was a considerable amount of gateways. It was a robo. There's just a lot of damage through this fight.
Yeah. There's so much to happen.
That was like a weird positional stiff. All right, he's going to abandon the bio units. Saves a couple.
He realized there wasn't really that many Stalkers, so maybe they had blinked to get to that location. That's Billowy pushing in without a, zone army. It's a little bit questionable. I guess Ryung's still missing some already too, but
So there's
These
actually
are suckers.
well, okay, I'll talk about my point in a moment. We actually have this army not kill the planetary. He sacrificed a lot thinking he could. Now he's going to get caught in the retreat. Archon's getting EMP'd. Ghost giving chase. Billowy's army is stuck out in the open, and without proper support, Ryung's looking for the concave, and he's looking to kill these Colossus. One falls down, 4 remain, but 3 are almost dead.
Yeah, there they go finally, and Billowy just... I really don't like that he pushed forward. That wasn't a substantial number of units in that drop, and he left behind the very important fodder for his Colossus. 5 Colossus is scary, but you can see it's still even a concave, and the limited number of Vikings, Ryung was able to take care of all of them.
That's a beautiful EMP out of Ryung there too, by the way. But yeah, I think for Billowy, he overreacted to the damage he took in the natural. He thought, I have to pay Ryung back, but it just wasn't worth it. And Ryung will take the series 2-1 and advance on to fight against Classic. And that being said, this is a good matchup. We may stick with it. I'm going to see what the status of Bunny and Keen are. If they're playing some sort of epically long TVT, we're not going to wait on them. But we did want to see Impact play. So we're going to find out what's going on. We'll go to commercial break, and we'll see you guys in 2 minutes. Before I do, though, I want to bring up the Match Arena page before you all disappear, because I haven't used my coupon code yet, so I'm going to do this and show you guys how it works. Because this is free money for the players. You don't want to miss out on this. So go to quickly refresh, see what number we're at. $216 raised, not too shabby. You sign in with your Twitch account up here in the top right. They're not doing anything shady with this. It's just their way of making accounts. You go click donate. Oh, you got no funds you want to spend? Okay, MKGA. Make Korea great again. $1 will be added to the prize pool. It won't cost you anything. You'll note I didn't have to enter my PayPal, my credit card, nothing. It's just a coupon code. Redeem it while you can. Help these guys get some money. And let's make this at least a $300 prize pool. But, as I said, commercial break. See you guys shortly.